Hunger is a sign of enslavement. It's the canary in the coal mine of enslavement. Why are you hungry? You've been eating every single day of your life. How are you suddenly hungry? Where is that hunger coming from? Why can't you stop? Why do you have to touch your phone? Parasitic infections are simply a vulnerability in the soul. It's actually one of the most painfully obvious signs that your soul is in very serious trouble, or else the parasites have nothing to feed on. So 3 days into it, you are starting to seriously dump some acid, lymphatic acid, cellular trash. Okay? Day 4, typically, you're supposed to start to enter into ketosis. You're going from acid to alkaline because of all that acid dumping out of your organs, tissues, muscles, into your bloodstream has finally made its way into the GI. You're on day 9, day 10. Now the fast actually starts because you're clean for the first time ever. You have a fresh intestinal lining. You're starting with a clean slate. Now we can deeply clean the organs. That's the magic of fasting that no one can explain. They can call it autophagy. They could call it this kind of enzyme. No. No one can explain how this magic is actually happening. Because suddenly you're hyperabsorbent down to the level of the DNA in 10 days. Are you kidding me? In less than 2 weeks, you can deliver something from your mouth to the very bottom corner of a cell inside your liver? Nobody can explain this. Not I. It is not the person who won the Nobel Prize for fasting. So that's why the real fast starts after 10 days. Let's say you get to day 12, parasites will start to come out if they already haven't. And let's say you break the fast on day 12, your first one ever. Anything you eat will be absorbed 5 times.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Health Alliance Australia's podcast. My name is Jeannie Rose Anjwatha, and today we are privileged to have Sero Kassabian, a private non-medical mentor, former NASA scientist, former healthcare clinic practitioner, and man with a lived experience of healing from terminal cancer, now helping others heal through the catalyst of extended water fasting. As many of you know, we have done a series of interviews that bring together a holistic understanding of what is required in order to reverse disease and live an abundant and healthy life. And we've also delved into the bioweapons, in particular relating to COVID-19, by interviewing world experts like Dr. Kevin McCann, Professor Francis Boyle, Professor Garth Nicholson, Dr. Richard Fleming, and have discussed the amylogenetic health crisis of misfolded fibrin, causing multi-organ dysfunction, neurodegeneration, cancer, heart disease, sudden death, strokes, and vaccine injuries, long COVID, etc. Through this whole process, one of our guests, Elizabeth Glass, who had her unvaxxed blood tested, also found she had amylogenetic fibrin that caused her to develop lymphedema. And by incredible providence, she actually completely healed her lymphedema during a 7-day water fast and a plant-based nutrition. She published her story on her website, elizabethglass.org. In enjoying together all our interviews, the power of water fasting was also discussed in my second interview with Dr. Joe Lee. So we have come full circle to discuss with Sero how extended water fasting can heal chronic and life-threatening disease and how it can be done safely. Thank you for coming today, Sero. What an honor it is to have you here today.
Thank you, Jeannie. I should make it clear, the wisdom that I have is not mine, so I'm just lucky to have it.
Yes, I mean, I think full disclosure here, we met on LinkedIn. You're very active there on LinkedIn, and I think you inspire a lot of people to water fast. In fact, myself, I was actually doing a water fast, but then when you popped up on LinkedIn saying that your clients don't start water fasting to day 10, I was like, oh, I've got to do that. I've got to get to day 10. And it was when day 12 came, actually, that I ended up getting this huge surge of energy. And I thought, wow, I didn't know that once you get past a certain day, there was something actually happened that was more profound than a short water fast, a level of healing that I've never experienced before. And I've done a lot of different things. So I'm really interested. I thought we could start by your story. How did you end up knowing about water fasting? That you said that you had cancer, and can you tell us about how did you get to the point of needing to water fast?
I was forced into it. I
Mm-hmm.
didn't. I'm not wise. I'm not some sage source of wisdom. Um, I was forced to do a 44-day IV-led fast each of those days, and it had to be done in a clinic in Mexico, owned by an American. And it was nothing I learned at NASA. It was nothing I learned helping launch a physical therapy clinic in Hollywood. It had nothing to do with working for California at the county level in air pollution. None of these experiences mentioned fasting. Intermittent fasting, sure. 3-day fasting, sure. Nothing even close to what we're talking about. Nothing close to your long fast or my fast that saved my life. Only in hindsight did I realize that I was being trained to be able to do this. That there was no medical school that had trained me for this. There was no NASA or federal agency or private entity, for that
Mm.
matter, of a high caliber, a high degree, that would be able to train me in this. I started to realize it was not coming from the physical. So all of this is easy to say in hindsight.
Yeah.
Going through the training, I mean, I don't think anybody will say that life is easy. If it is, then you don't have a reason to question anything. If life is comfortable, you don't have a reason to question anything. It's only those that were trained, put through very difficult situations. Those are the people that start to ask questions. Why is this happening? Why did it happen the way it did? Why am I who I am? Why am I here? Why am I such a loveless person? Why am I worshiping money? You're not going to ask these questions if life is very comfortable. If everything's good, finances, health, family, it's all good. And yet every single person does ask the question, what's missing? Something in my life is missing. And it's very deep and it's not physical.
Mm.
We can all say it's love. We can say it's spiritual health, soulful health. Really, at the end of the day, what's love? Some people say it's also God. Some people say it's also light. Some people say it's also health in the physical, in the mind, in the soul. Well, is there a way to get all three? I didn't discover anything, Jeannie. Fasting covers all three of those. It has 4 centuries and it will continue to. I'm not the first, I'm not the last, and we are not going to be the last ones to have long fasted. There will be many more because
Mm.
that's how old this wisdom is. We're just rediscovering it.
And I think we were discovering it with, I guess, with science in a way, like because as you treat your patients, you do so with blood tests. So when you go back to your story, it wasn't just a water fast, was it? You were given nutrition.
I was given nutrition through an IV. I thought it was just salt, right? Sodium chloride, the basic saline IV. No, it had other minerals in it at the time because of how low my immune function was. So the tumors were the real problem. The cancer was just brewing. That was just stage one. That was just the GI cancer. But it's like eventually everything was going to give in. All organ systems were going to give in. So it did. It didn't even matter if I was going to heal from the tumors and stop the cancer from progressing to a higher stage. This was a sign. I was sick in the metaphysical.
Mm.
Finally, it caught up to the physical.
Yeah.
Finally, it caught up, right? So I'm forced to fast. And I didn't want the first IV. I passed out in the lobby of this alternative medicine clinic. And I said, they got me back up and I said, oh, I'm just hungry. I just need to have some tacos. Like it's funny now. I can laugh about it now, but that's how stubborn I was to not
Mm,
believe that there's God, to not believe that, oh, you need to tap into your heart and everything will start to come,
yeah.
and grateful and you'll appreciate everything. I didn't want any of that. And they essentially said, if you walk out today, you will not wake up tomorrow morning. You have full blown sepsis. You don't
Wow.
get it. You don't have an immune system left. IV will be here in 20 minutes. That first IV, they did have to put strong antibiotics in, and
Mm,
they put a painkiller and an anti-inflammatory. And I felt the most peace I've ever felt in my entire life. And I felt the most love I've ever felt in my entire life. Being the youngest person in a clinic full of Americans, because the average Mexican cannot afford this, and wondering, what am I doing here? Everybody else here is much older than me, and none of them are sad. They're all talking about their family members, showing photos of their kids. Their kids. The ones who didn't have kids, they're talking about their family members. No one is talking about this doctor did that to me in this hospital and they failed me. No, they're all talking about fond memories. And I'm here feeling this zero pain, zero shame and guilt. I mean, I'm not just talking about zero physical pain. That IV was no pain, period. I'm not letting anybody down. I've made my parents proud. I've made myself proud. My wife is proud. My daughter's going to be fine. There's zero concern of the future financially, health wise, as a parent, as a husband. That's what I mean when I say no pain.
mm,
And that's when I realized I'm an actual nobody. I've never tried to love like this and be careful of who I'm loving. I've never valued my love. And so that's led to hurting people. I've never valued the money I was earning. I always was going to need more. It was never going to be enough. I never valued what I had already and what I was going to have. How am I going to value what's the future if I can't value the now? There was no such thing as me living in the moment. It was all pretend. I was worshiping myself. I was worshiping career growth. These are all the same mistakes that career men make, that good dads make, good men make, and I was making all of them. The truth is, we all do actually.
mm,
We just don't like to admit it because for some reason we think our number twos smell worse than everybody else's. No, everybody's number two smells the same. So how about we knock it off and we start forgiving one another? And that's when I realized the day that I had the IV in and had no pain, not a single person I know has forgiven another person. I mean, actually forgive. You know when someone's really forgiven another.
mm,
They don't hate them anymore.
yeah.
And because they don't hate themselves anymore. And boy, do the riches come in every form. I knew not a single person. So after that, years of wondering if I should go back to Los Angeles and be in the rat race again. And I wanted to. I wanted to go back. I didn't want to be obedient to what I had learned from the fast. Open your heart, keep it open, stay grounded with God, crush your ego, and watch the magic happen. No, I didn't want magic to happen. I wanted to make it happen myself. Arrogant. So it took a few years for that to wash away. Once it did, I started to meet people just like this. No wonder I never met them before. Here and there, I did meet them actually,
Yeah.
like an Armenian genocide survivor who couldn't stop smiling, age 93, made zero excuses. But I never understood them. I didn't realize that it was God sent that I would get to meet some of these people throughout life. I didn't value their existence. Now I was valuing the existence of such people. And I found out that there are people like this that will lead with their heart. And if you try to hurt their heart, they'll say, bless your heart and get the hell away from me. They have no problem protecting their hearts. And they're extremely loving people. Oh, and they're not broke. They're not bleeding heart broke people. If only I knew these people existed before. If only I had fasted before, maybe I would have seen them. Because that's what fasting does. It opens your heart. And then you notice the open-hearted. My heart was not open. Not since I was a child. So I guess that's why I fasted.
It was like 44 days, wasn't it?
Yeah, and it wasn't even my choice. So if there's a reason to believe in God, at least for me, that was my reason. If there's a reason for anybody else to believe in God and to believe that opening the heart actually works, and all you need to do is a saltwater fast, go ahead and fast 10 days. Tell me how you feel about your loved ones, each and every one. Tell me how you feel about yourself. Tell me what's your reaction when you look in the mirror each day of that fast. How bad are the hunger pains? Hunger is a sign of enslavement. It's the canary in the coal mine of enslavement. Why are you hungry? You've been eating every single day of your life. How are you suddenly hungry? Where is that hunger coming from? Why can't you stop? Why do you have to touch your phone? Why do you have to make more money? Why are you struggling to make money? Are you asking these questions? Go ahead. Do that 10-day fast. And tell me it was. You could be on an IV every day like I was, pain-free, being fed through the IV, literally being fueled through your fast. You could do that. And the emotions are still the same for some reason. It doesn't matter what your state of health is. It doesn't matter if you do with an IV in you. In a hyperbaric oxygen chamber, each and every day. Hell, twice a day. 2 times IV a day. 3 times red light therapy a day. The emotions still surface. Go ahead and tell me that's not coming from the metaphysical. Fasting forces to admit all of this. And it has to be by force. We have to feel the pain. Because if life is too comfortable, we don't have a reason to question it. Pain forces you to question. Thank God for pain.
Yeah. I mean, you're going very deep into what the source of disease is often, in this alternative health space. People talk about their bodies still as though it was some sort of machine. We talk about chemicals, we talk about, protein, carbohydrates, nutrition, but we often don't delve into the metaphysical or the spiritual aspects of where illness is coming from or manifesting in us as really just signs to go within ourselves. And I think what actually does happen is that you can fix the outside and everything seems to be fine. But because the source of your problem, which is in the spiritual, which is in the heart space, is not addressed, at some point in time, those conditions will re-manifest again.
It begs the question, why did anybody even get sick at all? My immune function was slightly low. No. That's a symptom. What was the root cause here? The soul finally couldn't carry it. The heart finally couldn't carry it. And that's why the immune system had a vulnerability, was susceptible. Or else it's almost not possible to get deathly ill. Almost not possible. Why did COVID affect anybody? Soul. Parasitic infections. Seeing parasites coming out of people. I know you know what I'm talking about. Well, the parasitic infections. Oh, maybe it's because I had sushi. Maybe it's because I had pork when I was a kid. Really? Well, how the heck did we survive being agrarian people? Just 4 fathers and just 4 mothers ago. How the heck did we survive that? I don't care what the fertility rate was or the mortality rate was or what the morbidity rate was. We survived it. Something made us susceptible. Parasitic infections are simply a vulnerability in the soul. It's actually one of the most painfully obvious signs that your soul is in very serious trouble, or else the parasites have nothing to feed on.
Mm.
They say parasites hoard metals. What else is a parasite in the gallbladder? Gallstones. So if they hoard metal and we're the salt of the earth, they're trying to hoard us because salt is mineral. So the saltier you are, the more parasites we're going to have because we have more minerals? No. The saltier we are, the less the parasites want us, the more God wants us, the more connected we are to Source. We're a giant sack of fat called lipid bilayer called sin. And that skin is filled with 70% salt water. And we're told to just intake a minimum of 1.5 grams of salt a day. 6 grams is the absolute bare minimum. Absolute bare minimum. I know not one single person that I've ever met that says, oh yeah, I take in 6 teaspoons of salt a day. Not a single person. So now I understand. Now I get it why so few people do this. We're not salted. And the moment you start salting, the parasite, the biofilm, the mold, the bacterial infection in the small intestine, gut dysbiosis, lingering UTI, lingering COVID, EMF exposure, whatever it may be, brain fog, microplastics, all of that is just trying to keep us from Source, from God. It's that simple, really. Because once you connect through fasting, you're never going back. Evil knows you will see it, and they'll never have you again.
It's amazing, isn't it? Because we're encouraged to avoid salt. Like it's almost to fear it.
There was a very good case about that. Beverly Hills Cedars-Sinai Hospital, celebrity hospital. And there was someone who I knew should have not got this aortic valve replacement. I knew if they salted and if they fasted, not only would the calcification have reversed, it would have saved their life. And forget surgery. The surgery didn't go well. But hey, they say complications are rare, right? Especially when you're in the number one cardiac surgery in one of the top hospitals in the world, right? So that cardiac surgeon said complications would be rare. This person's a perfect candidate. And it didn't go well. You know what the first recommendation was? The day the person woke up from the surgery, minimum 2 grams of salt.
Wow.
Minimum.
We're just talking about sodium chloride, aren't we? As when you're talking about salt, or are you talking about something else?
Well, that's the interesting part is when they say fluids, they're actually talking about a saline IV. A saline IV is just sodium chloride, like you said, 9% dilution and 9% concentration. And the concentration at 9% is basically 9,000 milligrams. 9 grams of table salt is saving someone's life.
Wow.
There was another case, same hospital. Blood pressure is above 250. I don't know why they waited to call the ambulance. They finally do. What does the paramedic do? The first order of business, put a saline IV in. I believe this one was about 225 milliliters, which is about 1 cup of water. That's 9% saline. That's 9,000 milligrams. And it's a push. By the time this woman arrives at the hospital. This is the second one. By the time the ER attending physician comes in, goes, now I want a more specialized IV. I want more minerals, and I want a buffer. I want a buffer solution added as well, because they have kidney issues. I believe it's gluconate or acetate. I don't remember now. And what's interesting is, when they check the BP, upon arriving home, it had normalized. The person went home the same day.
That's incredible, because usually when people are in heart failure or heart issues, they always say to minimize salt to like what is it? Very low levels, maybe a gram a day.
Yeah, and
you're saying that even in the hospital's own protocols, they're injecting salt into people in order to save their lives. But then when they go home, they say you don't have salt. In fact, no salt whatsoever.
Jeannie, walk into any hospital and look at the IV bags that people have in them. Chances are they're either saline or dextrose. Most of them are saline. Doesn't matter what they're in for.
I mean, culturally, when you look at it, salt used to be the matter of trade. People used to trade like salt as money. So it kind of makes sense of how valuable in human history salt has been. And yet today we're looking at it as though it was some sort of poison, you know.
It's actually a magnet for collecting poison and getting it out. Go ahead and leave salt out on the table. Watch it collect moisture, aka minerals, ions suspended in the air. Watch it collect it. It's a magnet for the correct type of minerals, ions.
Yep.
That eventually becomes a pool of water. Then it flows makes its way into the ground, into the soil. Go ahead and dig up soil, especially when it's wet. You'll see a bunch of specks in there. Those are minerals. You'll see worms as well. Well, those worms simply concentrate. Their poop is literally concentrated soil, concentrated mineral. So you have this concentrated mineral called soil, and the salt just made its way into it. Now it's even more mineralized. And then we eat products, animal products, that ate this highly mineralized plant that was growing on this highly mineralized soil. So when we hear the saying salt of the earth, it's not just a nice biblical saying. It's literally how we work. You are the salt of the earth. So to even consider mineralized salt is not good for you. Means you have been captured. And I am not blaming doctors whatsoever. I am not. You really do think you're trying to do a good job, at least for the most part. You really do think you're trying to do something. You think you're right. You actually believe it. So this is why I have no doctors as clients. This is why my two medical mentors, there was a third, but they suddenly died. This is why my two medical mentors, they never took insurance companies. They never contracted with medical insurance companies. Everything was private. One of them used to be a concierge physician, which is basically a physician that doesn't take on new clients. Entire families are their clients. How much do you think they recommend salt? A fair amount.
Because the thing is, they can't recommend, if you're working with within the system, it goes against practice to recommend salt. So, and when you actually think about it, the thing that can heal you the most are essentially free. Like, I mean, salt is really quite cheap. Water fasting is cheap, you know, like in fact, you're saving money doing it. So all these practices that are literally pennies, right, to restore your health. What would happen to a healthcare system if people were to know this knowledge?
Every COVID testing program would cease to exist. I mean, let's just talk about that alone. Almost every single person, type 1 and 2 diabetic, the continuous glucose monitors, the insulin pumps, gone. Brain fog, gut dysbiosis. I have yet to see a health issue that fasting cannot address. I have yet to see it. In fact, there was a very sad case where the person was begging their family members, please, please let me fast. Please help me. But they had grown too weak, too frail. So even the family they were scared. Nobody wants that blood on their hands, Jeannie. Doctors definitely don't. Nobody wants to take responsibility of someone's health and be willing to have the blood on their hands and go, you know what? Yes, you are weak and frail right now. Yes, you have gone down the modern medicine route and it didn't work. And now you're too weak to do anything about it. But I'm going to help you fast. And you know what? If you want to pass away that way, that's your right. If you want to pass away fasting, attempting it, that's actually your right. And this person begged for it for 3 months prior to dying. Prior to the chemotherapy finally tanking their immune system. You know what's the biggest regret of their family members? That they didn't let this person fast. Their regret is not we took them to the doctor. Their regret is not chemotherapy. Their regret is not we should have known better. Why did we keep trusting someone who's less healthy than us? Why do we trust us cardiologists with a belly? No. They were kicking themselves. And now that family fasts. So questions start to come up. No matter how many of these stories we tell, questions start to come up. Well, what if this happens while I fast? Yeah, what if it does happen? Just then, you know what? This isn't for you. Why are you even asking us questions about fasting? Go read the Bible. Go watch a YouTube video on Dr. Jason Fung. He's fantastic at leading people through fasts. There's not a mention about God, but go ahead and fast. Go. You can heal yourself. You don't need us. Oh, but you know the illness is going to come back. You know you'll have the same questions again, except you'll be sicker this time around. Because whatever was brewing in you that came from the soul was not addressed through the fast. All you did was buy time.
Yeah.
And I believe that people like Dr. Jason Fung, I believe other fasting experts from modern medicine, I believe they know that deep down. They know no matter how much I lead someone through fast, if they don't want to go to him, we're just prolonging the inevitable. In fact, we're probably making it worse because it's going to come back with a vengeance and definitely harm the person, potentially take their life.
Yeah. And so I thought I'd talk about hyperabsorption. I mean, I think it's something that hasn't discussed in the fasting realm, that what happens when a person fasts, you've mentioned before that they become hyperabsorbent. So this is both ways, for good and bad.
Oh boy. So 3 days into it, you are starting to seriously dump some acid, lymphatic acid, cellular trash. Okay. Day 4, typically, you're supposed to start to enter into ketosis. You're going from acid to alkaline because of all that acid dumping out of your organs, tissues, muscles, into your bloodstream has finally made its way into the GI. And as long as you're salting, it acts as a magnet for all that acidic water. Well, now you're turning alkaline. Your lymphatic system has fully opened up, draining. So as a result, that alkalinity, the ketosis on day 4, or almost, for the most part, almost everyone, day 4, day 5, day 6, latest. Well, then day 5, day 6, day 7, intestinal lining starts being shed. For some people, for the first time ever. And that's where keeping up with salt is very crucial. We don't know how much you need to. Depends on how much you're emptying in your number 2s and depending on what your blood work was prior to your fast. And then your intestinal lining has been shed. You're on day 9, day 10. Now the fast actually starts because you're clean for the first time ever. You have a fresh intestinal lining. You're starting with a clean slate. Now we can deeply clean the organs. Okay? Now, why is this happening so quickly in just 10 days? Why is there such a big improvement in 10 days? That's the magic of fasting that no one can explain. They can call it autophagy, they could call it this kind of enzyme. No. No one can explain how this magic is actually happening. Because suddenly you're hyperabsorbent down to the level of the DNA in 10 days. Are you kidding me? In less than 2 weeks, you can deliver something from your mouth to the very bottom corner of a cell inside your liver. Nobody can explain this. Not I. It is not the person who won the Nobel Prize for fasting. This is God level healing. It's going to the DNA. Now that sounds fantastic. Oh, all I need to do is keep fasting, keep salting. My fresh minerals will replace my, dirtied up parts. We'll take out the excess minerals, right? I just need to keep fasting. You break your fast, you have no idea how hyper absorbent you are. Now evil wants you because they can go deeper into you, deeper than ever. If they didn't have your soul before, now they have a chance to get to your soul. What else is accessing your DNA? So that's why the real fast starts after 10 days. Let's say you get to day 12, parasites will start to come out if they already haven't. And let's say you break the fast on day 12, your first one ever. Anything you eat will be absorbed 5 times. We actually don't know what that's like. We have no idea the game we're playing when we're hyperabsorbent post fasting. However, this is when someone's obedience is really tested, and this is when their actual intention of fasting is really tested. This is where they find out what they're really made of. It's funny because it's very easy to break the fast. It's very difficult to remain obedient because it's seen as, oh, you're weak for being obedient. Last I checked, if you're not obedient to your boss, you get fired. So obedience has its place. If you're not obedient to your body's limits, respecting it, and you try to lift 3 times the weight that you're supposed to, you'll break your spine. Yeah, maybe obedience has its place. You see how arrogant we are, that we think obedience is weakness. We think surrender and forgiveness is weakness. The arrogance is astounding, and it comes out during fasting. So someone will react to that in 2 ways, because they will be faced with that arrogance of how little they can surrender and be obedient. They'll either never do the fast again. They'll think I've done enough because they realize just how unloved they are and how little they love, and how they have so many coping mechanisms that have left them at just tapping into 1% of the potential financially, health-wise, connection with family. Or they go, I want to be more obedient than ever. I'm never going back to this. I'm never going back to who I was. I cannot believe how ugly and unloved I really am in every aspect of my life. I've barely lived. That person will fast for as long as necessary until the blood work is improving on its own. Until every day they are able to ground themselves. Every single day they are able to crush the ego, because it has to happen every day. You're starting fresh almost every day. That person will fast as many times as necessary, and they will respect the hyperabsorbency, and they'll take full advantage of it too. Great, I did my post-fast blood work. What's missing? Show me what's missing in my biomarkers. Cool, I'm going to take all of that now. Supplement, food, doesn't matter. I'm going to take it. I'm going to incorporate it because I get to absorb it really quickly. You know what? I want this to be done a little quicker. I'm unsatisfied with this progress. I feel ungrateful every morning for everything I have. And I don't have this drive with purpose. All right, it's time to fast. I want another fast. I want to absorb as fast as possible. The better way versus my way.
You're actually talking about absorbing life, aren't you? I mean, when you're talking, we're using the word hyper absorption, but you're really talking about cracking oneself open to receive life in all its fullness, which is both good and bad and everything in between.
This is so cliche as a man to say this, but love heals everything and love brings everything. There's nothing love cannot do. And when on day 10, the EMF field of your heart doubles from your fast, is that not opening of the heart?
Mm.
You know what's ironic is the hardening of the heart because you're so afraid to be hurt again, either financially, health-wise, or love-wise. Clinically, that's actually referred to as atrial fibrillation. The hardening of the heart, that's what that is. Fasting shatters the heart. It shatters that outer hard coating that we've created. And it makes your heart much more malleable. Now you can take the hits of life far more easily because your heart's been softened. Rather than, like I said, hardened, atrial fibrillation. No, it's softened. It can move easily. It can take the mallets of life. And now that you can handle that, you can have those harder conversations with people. You can walk into a room of imperfect people and still show love and not be trampled on. Still be salty. Because you can take the hits. You can handle hard situations in every single aspect of life. To the point where your own parents, your own loved ones, both my parents have recently told me how much they love me. That was extremely difficult for them. Really, I made that happen. Your fasting is what makes it happen. Your heart opens from fasting. Others cannot stop it. Finally, your heart is so open that they just start to give up. Their bitterness, being cold, being short. Okay? Hey, no, I got to go back to chasing my money. I got to go back to my external validations. No, it starts to pierce through all of it. And then eventually they say, I love you.
Mm.
You know what is the greatest motivator of any man I've ever seen? Is not having a family. It's when that family supports them, loves them, and it was actually because of them. That man will go bend over backwards for that family every single day, 7 days a week, with a smile on his face. Love makes us make more money than ever. Love makes us healthier than ever. Love allows us to work 7 days a week, grinding ourselves to the floor, and somehow our body still handles it. We don't get sicker. Wow. I wish they sold love in six packs.
So
So,
change is coming from within first, which is the opposite of what I guess is projected out there, where we're told we need to buy something, we need to buy health, we need to buy validation, we need to seek out a soulmate even. But when you actually consider what you're saying here is like when a person goes within, that is when everything changes around them.
correct. You like making money? Great. Fast. You'll make much better business decisions. You'll outperform everybody there. They won't understand it either. They're like, we don't get it. This guy's not eating. How is he doing better than? How is he getting more work done? This? Go ahead. Go worship money. See what it does when how much better you are at it when you fast. You want to get healthier. Great. See that mental clarity and how these little unchecked pains start to come to the surface and get out of the body. Shocker, you're getting better. Apply fasting to any bit of progress you want and watch it make it happen. And I think this is why it leads to people believing in God, is because it's like the impossible just happened. Maybe there's something past this physical world, because I just watched the impossible. My testosterone doubled. I'm not taking testosterone replacement therapy. You're telling me a 10-day fast doubled my testosterone. How is that possible? You're telling me my bone marrow function went up in 10 days. How is that possible? Bone marrow function going up, that means you're making more red blood cells. Last I checked, your entire organ system, your entire being needs more red blood cells. My heart opened. I'm more gentler. I'm not this angry, bitter loser. I don't want to just look down when I walk across people because I'm judging the hell out of them. I'm not judging people. My God, this is freeing. I'm going to keep fasting. It's ironic how nobody gets to choose it. You have to be called upon to do it. I don't choose my clients. God, I just call it God. I don't know what else to call it, Jeannie. But God calls on you. It's something metaphysical that calls on you and goes, it's time.
Mm.
And that's why I say it's by force. I have yet to hear from someone who has done a prolific fast and seen these incredible benefits at the DNA level, confirmed benefits, that hasn't lost so much, that hasn't ate untold buckets of you know what. Not a single person I know has made it the distance with fasting that has had a good life. Not a single person. Like I said, money's right, health is right, everything looks hunky-dory, life is a bed of roses. Why ask questions? Why fast? Why go to God? You could just say, I love God, and everything will be fine, right? Last I checked, roses have pricks on them, thorns. You don't hand somebody a rose, the beauty of life. You don't hand them a rose by holding onto the petal, do you? You hold on to where the thorns are.
Mm.
Those are the fasters. The ones that have. It's funny how that siren goes on at that time. It was for an ambulance. I guess someone's heart's just been broken. Maybe they need to fast.
Yeah.
Maybe they need a rose. Too bad there's no one around them when it's fasted to hand it over to them. So I don't know why it has to be that way, Jeannie. But I guess it goes back to that question I've heard so many people ask. People who truly believe in God. Not the denomination, not the religion, like really believe in God and have fasted. And they start to understand why evil exists. If things were so good, we would never question. We would not have a reason to go to God. This is why I believe everybody who has fasted greatly has lost greatly. There's no
Yeah.
exception.
I mean, I'm interested to hear you say that, because I know that was my experience, to be able to get to 19 days on a water fast, that you nearly had to push through it. And I guess through all the hardship that I've gone through before, all that allowed me to. It was almost like climbing a mountain, right? You have in life, you have little training sessions, the various trials that you go through. And then the fast became this one that I chose to go into in the end. Whereas often things happen to you in life in order to get you to break open, if you like. But when you go into a water fast, you're actually choosing to be broken open. And I cannot tell you how grateful I am to have met you on LinkedIn and for you to challenge me to go deeper into the water fast. Because I was only going into it to get my blood pressure down, and it did, and I got off meds and all of that. And I'm very confident that I'm fully recovered of cardiomyopathy. But going to the 19 days and thereafter and seeing the months unfold of how many people have come into my life that have just out of nowhere, like yourself, that have added more wisdom to my life and have me address various traumas in life and childhood traumas, but also to open up my heart to my children, to those people around me, to speak truthfully and honestly from the heart. And I was always thought I was quite an open person, but I went to a deeper level that even I never expected to. And I've watched the transformation of people around me that have experienced this openness, this EMF field that you're talking about. Even strangers, right? They experience this new energy. And I've had people say, oh, you look younger, you look more relaxed. And it's great to, you know, be told that you look younger and you're healthier. But the benefits, or I don't even know if it's the benefits, it's the soul journey that you undertake when you go into this water fast. It's like you come out a different person. I feel like it's a metamorphosis. It's like you're a worm and you're changing into a butterfly. It's a total transformation.
And the ones who want love, they want to hear all about it. And the ones who are afraid to love, they're afraid to accept who they are, will sarcastically make comments, will not support you on your fast. And that's another way you know good versus evil actually exists. Why would you not support how I visibly look and feel better and more loving? Why would you not want to support that? And the ones who do, they just can't wait to hear more about it. And they're so happy for you. They're quite loving people. You fasted when you were hospitalized. People who get sick and fall into a coma, that's a fast. How many times have we been sick as kids? When we couldn't eat, stomach flu, stomach bug is what we would call it. And you don't eat. And then you get better. You're fasting. Your body's trying to tell you, get out of my way. You messed up. It's okay, but get out of my way. Let me fix this. And for some reason, you were chosen. Jeannie, I honestly don't know what the criteria for people being chosen to fast is. I really don't. I don't know why you and I got this touch of godly love, let's call it. Why us? Why not the next person? Why not the person who's even more hateful than you and I? Why doesn't that person get touched? Why doesn't the person who's made ungodly amounts of money and could care less about their kids and what kind of people their kids become, what kind of character and integrity they have, why isn't that person being saved? I don't know the criteria, and if I did, I'd be playing God, and my zealousness and my dark energy would come right back, and my wantingness to go grind in Los Angeles would come back, and you would start to long for your old life back. A more closed heart, far less connection with God, and a high blood pressure.
Maybe it's learning to live with the uncertain, to stay curious, to not be fixed in our view, our worldview, to be able to be changed and experience new people and new experiences of life. That's what it's really opened up us for, where we're trying to categorize things and say, well, how can I make this into a package? How can I, which is often in business, is how do we monetize something? But at the same time, there is a service that you're providing, you know, and in exchange, right? Where people are coming to you who have no one else to go to, who do need a certain level of support. And you're able to help them heal. But you know, you're not gonna, there's a very organic way in which these people come to you. It's not the usual sales funnels that you see online, which is the package 1, 2, 3, click, click, click. It's a heart-based attraction frequency that's being put out here. And so I want to know, like, when a person comes to you and you say, like, you assume people know what's good blood work and bad blood work. What are you looking for in their blood, and how do you work out, how do you use that information to help them water fast?
I'll start off by saying what I'm not looking at: reference ranges of blood tests. I'm not looking at that at all. I want to see the actual value. The other thing is that I didn't learn this at school or in our healthcare clinic or at NASA. It was actually through my experience. The the clinic owner in Mexico, the American, was actually not even a doctor. He was a PhD. So he was an expert in data analysis, seeing trends, patterns, and data, crunching numbers. It's exactly what NASA had taught me before I even had a bachelor's degree. So I didn't realize that eye for data, for analytics, was that important, that it could be applied to health like this. And that's what he would look at. He'd look at, okay, what are your goals? All right, well, before we address your health goals here, here's what I see missing in your data. Just pure data. Here are your numbers. What's high? What's low? That's it. Well, how does he know what's high, what's low? Because he's had the worst of the worst. It's an alternative medicine clinic. It's a cancer tumor clinic, autoimmune disease clinic. When you get to see the worst of the worst, you see the biomarkers that have been totally tanked at their most depleted, deficient state possible, to where it's now a disorder. Because that's what a biomarker is when it's out of a reference range. It's a full-blown disorder now. It's not a deficiency, it's not a depletion, it's an actual disorder. So he's seen the worst of the worst, the numbers for the worst of the worst, and then watches them slowly come back, right? Well, when they slowly come back, it's like, okay, so putting this cocktail of stuff in this IV based on what I see missing in your blood test data, this worked. This combo didn't work. Oh, wait, this combo was even better. And then as the levels improve, I mean, this is trial and error. That's what he was doing initially. It was trial and error over 30 years ago. And then finally started to understand, okay, if the hemoglobin's like this, but your kidneys are like this, and your hematocrit is like this, and your magnesium is here, this is what we can add to your IV.
Yeah.
How I know now it's low. Your calcium, wait, no, this calcium's not high. Your calcium's good. You just have, you don't have enough of the other minerals to help calcium be fixated into bone. Oh, you also don't have enough testosterone. Okay, well then that's how I know you need this much testosterone, this much more magnesium, this much more vitamin D. Well, how do we get those up too? So it's not a one singular biomarker. It's how do all of these in different combinations, how do these biomarkers in different combinations, what stories are they telling us? What's an organ system? It's a collection of those biomarkers that we're trying to understand. So I learned it because I had to. I had to understand the process. I needed to understand what is in my IV right now. What are we doing here? I thought I was getting stem cells. So when they told me you're not, I'm like, wow, I feel this much better. Yeah, we've taken you off the pain meds. What are you giving me? Minerals and some vitamins, some. Guys, this feels incredible. So that's when I started to understand. And they were doing blood tests every 3 days. That's when I started to understand. I'm looking at before and afters of my work. I'm using what NASA taught me, the data analysis eye. They helped me hone that. And I'm now getting it. I'm simply applying it to fasting right now. That's all. This wisdom is not mine. Same with that molecular biologist that was doing trial and error. I did trial and error myself. They were doing trial and error on me. And lo and behold, now I'm blood test led fasting is my thing. I didn't choose
Mm.
this.
So not
So when
everyone does IV though, do they, when they water fast? It would be really more for the very sick, or what do you
it's for the very sick, very, very sick, like me, that had no immune system and was not going to wake up the next morning. Or else IV is a crutch. It's a band-aid. It's a security blanket.
Mm.
You don't actually need it. You do not. But if your triglycerides are above 400, your testosterone is at 150 when it's supposed to be at 900, and you can't stay awake for more than an hour a day, we're using an IV.
Mm.
You're in really bad shape, right?
It's an
So
emergency situation, yeah.
I can tell you all sorts of things about what I learned and how I learned it, and how I know to apply it to safely lead someone through fasting and confirm it through blood work. Jeannie, at the end of the day, I was chosen to do all of this. All the wisdom is given to me. I didn't
Mm.
learn anything here. You see how my analytical mind, my NASA mind, my healthcare clinic mind, crunching numbers of our patients to try to figure out better ways. None of that was of use. In
Mm.
fact, my science and medicine background delayed wisdom. All of
Mm.
this came from the source. Every ounce of how I know what I do came from the source.
Because I'm thinking if someone is really sick and they're trying to attempt to water fast, and they're not saying in touch with, the spiritual side just yet, because it's kind of a bit the noise out there from being depleted. They would really benefit from someone to help them, like to reassure them, I guess, that things are progressing as it should be, especially in the beginning when they're walking into this space.
You
So,
know, you remind me of character resignation, because there are people who, the more the pain mounts up, they go, you know what? I don't care how fasting, like how crazy it is. I don't care
mm.
how over salting is. Let's go.
So they start with salting. Is that what you do? Before a fast,
Well,
you start with salting.
well, within 48 hours, they already see a difference, because absolutely nobody, like I said, absolutely nobody intakes 6,000 milligrams of salt. Nobody. No one's even intaking 2 teaspoons of salt a day. So just by gradually upping their salt to wherever a safe level is, again, based on their blood work, let's say it was 6 teaspoons. The moment they get to 4 teaspoons, they are going to have some loose stool, and it's going to
Mm.
feel good actually. And then they keep having it the next day, and then they get the fifth teaspoon, and then they get the sixth, and like, what's coming out of me? When you take photos of your number two, when you're facing your own crap, you're actually looking at it because you have to take a photo of it. You don't get to look away at the dirtiness in you.
Mm.
Physically, figuratively, you don't get to ignore it anymore. And that's when you go, okay, this salting's working. I have trust in you now. I'm trusting myself now. How much more salting tonight could fast? They asked the question. Well, what is the difference between those two people? Because the pain is there, the fear is there. Hey, my pain is rising, my fear is increasing. They're both in fear, they're both in pain. Why is it one person's character resigns and the other person's character does not resign? I have yet to see someone fast that has had that and not be able to reverse their character resignation,
Mm.
because you're connecting with God, you're opening your heart, and you're doing it by force. You don't get to choose to talk about God. You don't get to choose to be gentler at the heart. It forces you to do it, and you watch the character resignation go away. And even then, I wonder, did the person even make a choice? Was it really that person that made a choice to reverse their character resignation? Or was it
Calling.
even the person who didn't resign and was redder? I have the character and I have the integrity, and I don't care how much my pain and fear is. I'm doing this fast. Did that person even decide? I'm starting to believe, this is just my experience here. I'm starting to believe that we don't actually make the choice. I really am starting to believe that our ability to make a decision here is actually ego. And that the more we flatten it, God helps us see the right and wrong. And that's what allows us to be chosen. That's what allows our decision making to be so effortless.
Mm.
And the grounding in that, no matter how many times you fasted, needs to be every single day. Every single day.
And it sort of gets rid of all the questions that people often ask about how much water to drink, you know, what they're going to eat for nutrition, how much exercise to do, what sunshine, you know, like there's all these, you know, influences out there. You want to give everyone a protocol to follow. But here, what you're talking about is going into self and to God, and then that wisdom just becoming part of who you are.
There is no protocol. There is none. It doesn't exist. If we're doing protocols, then we are not including the aim of the fast is something else. The aim of the fast is not for God to show you your heart. The aim of the fast is not obedience. The aim of the fast is not to be closer to your loved ones. The aim of the fast is not to heal another person. I mean, if you open your heart and you're a healthier person and your immune system is so dang strong because you doubled your hormone levels, tripled, quadrupled them, you tripled your bone marrow function, that alone can inspire someone who's sick in your family. You know what's the best way to make someone around you fast? You do it. Let's back up here. Someone is sick. You want them to get better. They're bitter. They're lonely. They're just holding on to their money. That's all it's about, just money. You want them to change? You do it first. Watch what happens. There's no protocol for that, Jeannie. In fact, if I try to write a protocol for it, it's still unexplainable. How did you, healing yourself, be able to heal someone that was way worse than you, someone you love? How did that happen? That person was not listening to you. They didn't want to hear about fasting or salting, none of it. They don't want to hear about how much you're questioning modern medicine. No. They don't want to hear about Bible or breathing techniques. No. How does that person start listening? There's no protocol for it.
No.
It's not explainable. It's not of this world. And I now get why they're trying to, anybody that wants to make money off people being sick, I get why they're trying to stop people from fasting. It doesn't just make you better. It makes you question every single thing in life.
Mm.
Everything. It makes you question gas prices. It also makes you not feel attached to it, and it doesn't bother you. It makes you question every single leader you see around you that calls themselves a leader, either at home, at work. But it also doesn't let you bother. Like, it doesn't get under your skin either. You're able to question it objectively, without judgment either, without heavy judgment, without anger, hatred, and frustration. I can't believe I'm citing Star Wars right now, the original, the old ones, the 70s ones, but there's a really good part where this person who's supposed to save the universe and from darkness, he is told, do not give in to the hatred. Do not give in to your anger. That's what they want you to do, so that your heart closes and blackens like a rock.
Yeah.
because those are forces of the dark side. And that is exactly how you will end up doing something dark that you didn't intend on doing. Do not give in. And I still don't know why some of us did not give in. I don't know.
I
Same
think
question.
it's interesting that we put out, I mean, fasting is, I've been speaking about it for a little while, you've been for a while, and I've noticed how it's influenced the social media space, and suddenly all the big time influencers are all on board, jumping on this fasting bandwagon, but they are all talking about it on a very physical level, but also they talk about intermittent fasting, which is kind of like just skipping a meal, or maybe a 3-day fast. And then after that, they're like, oh, but it's very, very dangerous to go beyond that. And none of them really talk about salting or minerals or how to prepare for a fast, or how afterwards, or you leave a fast, what that person that you've become is. It's all very contained in a package almost. And I think that is a bit like a gatekeeper thing. Maybe it's a stepping stone for some people to get onto a longer fast. But the extended water fast for myself personally, in my own experience and what I've seen, like as we said, we had Elizabeth on and she did a 7-day water fast, healed her lymphedema completely. She went on actually recently, I think she did, I mean, almost like a 30-day water fast. Or maybe,
Ooh.
yeah, so longer than that. And she looks amazing, now, and she's no concern that ever lymphedema will ever come back. So she's been on a lot of these lymphedema formula, trying to have, because lymphedema is a very painful disease. I mean, you can imagine every day waking up in pain where your body is like a little balloon exploding. And yet that pain is not pushing people to water fast, because the disease at some point, when people start talking about themselves in terms of their disease, it almost becomes part of who they are, their identity. Like if they might say, I've got asthma, or I'm this sort of person. So they find it very difficult to let go of. And when you present a solution there and say, hey, actually, this terminal diagnosis you've got, or this cancer or heart disease or lymphedema, asthma, this doesn't have to be your reality. You can water fast, and it may not just be the water fast that cures you, but what you learned from that water fast, the downloads, the connection you have to source will tell you, hey, take this out of your life, add this back into your life. And then the solution comes.
And I just wish the health influencers, health coaches you mentioned, I just wish they knew how much love was on the other side. Really, 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 how much love there is on the other side. If they even had a taste of it, just a little sip, which you can't. But if there was a way to show that, you could get anybody to fast. But like I said, it's something that God needs to call on you for. I don't choose anybody. They went to God first. You actually have to want to go to God yourself. And if they only knew how much more fulfilling life really is, how much purposeful life is.
I saw one this morning. It was a video of, I can't remember who it was, and he was diagnosed with a whole lot of different illnesses, including Lyme disease. And he was talking about his experience, and everyone loves a sob story. They really, everyone wants to draw into a difficult story. And yet I went back to his videos, and he's still pushing out all these podcasts, like more than daily. Like, I mean, almost daily, maybe sometimes more. I'm thinking, so this guy is not able to step away from his life, go inwards, do an extended water fast and heal, because he's attached to this now diagnosis that he's going to go through. And everyone else is going to also get on board and say, oh, how are you going? How are you feeling with your Lyme disease and all these other conditions? And yet if someone could reach out to these people and say, do you want to have abundant health? Do you want to connect to God? Do you want to truly heal? It might mean giving up this platform of yours, because in that platform, it's all very much in a certain space. You know what I'm saying? It's not in a deeper level. It's kind of surface level. most of the health advocacy is very surface level. Take this,
Yes.
do that, have some magnesium, eat more dark chocolate. It's not going into the very metaphysical, deeper level. If he was able to go into that level, he would perhaps have to rechange his whole life. And I think that's it. It's the fact that in water fasting, you have to be prepared for the outcome at the end, that you will have to change everything. And for a number of these podcasters, because they're stuck in a certain model of how people have perceived them to be and who they are in that space. And they're earning income through, various affiliate programs and selling supplements and doing all of that, and supporting like the alternative pharma movement. Maybe they're in the pharmaceutical movement. They have to give all of that up because suddenly some truth has come into their life that is far deeper, far richer, that replaces all of that. And I think that's what's stopping them. So from getting true wealth, you have to actually sometimes abandon the material for a time, and maybe whatever.
They do, and you will be stripped to who you are. Just your clothes, you're on your back. I'm not saying you have to be fully broke, but actually almost there.
Mm.
I'm not saying you have to divorce, but maybe you do. I'm not saying you have to replace your friends, but maybe you do. All I know is that if they knew how much more money it can make, that they were sincere and authentic about how much they wish they could stop doing whatever this is that is propping up their lives rather than supporting their lives with a solid foundation. They have no idea that they would have clients out their door. It's fear. They're afraid of meeting themselves. And I wish I could just hug them and tell them it's going to be okay. Trust me. I'll go to hell with you. I know what it looks like. Let's go together because we need you. 3 days is not a fast. Intermittent is the final reward of after fasting so many times that your blood work is just improving on its own now. Let me show you the love. Let me show you the light. Let me show you the way. And it's not even my way. I'm dead tomorrow. Don't you get it? I'm here today. I'm gone tomorrow. Yesterday died. Today is all that's left. And tomorrow's not guaranteed. You don't understand. You're so lucky that you get to meet someone who has fasted long and dared great and tried to give up their lives for a noble cause and was stripped of everything to finally learn about fasting and love and God. We've finally crossed paths. You don't understand how much God is trying to reach out to you and trying to show you his love. His, her, I don't care. This metaphysical love. Don't you get it? You have a chance. Please wake up. Life is so good.
It is.
It's so beautiful. It's so loving. And my God, do you finally get rewarded for your obedience? I don't need to create a digital platform. Someone just suddenly came into my life a month ago. If my LinkedIn stopped today, it's fine. If all social media blocked me today, it's fine. It wasn't fine a few months, or especially a year ago. It wasn't going to be fine if I was. But this person just walked right in. My symptoms were coming back no matter how much I was fasting. And the solution has been living from me back in Los Angeles for over 20 years, living within 15-minute driving distance. And I only recently met them. The amount of money that's about to get thrown at what we're already built. You know what's our number one concern, Jeannie? Is making sure we're serving the client as best as possible before making it go live. There are Olympians that now want it. Do you understand how much responsibility we just got? We're gonna get we're gonna get some of the biggest people to start fasting and talk about it publicly, openly, from different industries.
It's huge.
By the time we do that, it's okay if I go away, like my third medical mentor that went away suddenly, hiking in the mountains. Yeah, right. But it'll be okay because I'll know that not only did I get to make money the right way, my way, the right way, God's way, grounded way, where the outcome is someone is like, you saved my life.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's okay if I die. That would be okay. And to know that my daughter would be like, this is all I want to do. I don't want school. I don't want this. I don't want that. I want people like this around me all day. And I'm going to marry a very loving person. That's it. I'm done.
Mm.
Duty is done. I could take my hat off. Or maybe I'm not. My duty is done when he says it's done.
I think what you're touching on is the power of fasting to change the whole world. I mean, it's incredibly transformational. People, I'm incredibly passionate about it, not only because I've seen it in my own life, but where I've helped Elizabeth to water fast and how it's dramatically changed her life.
It,
But also from a big picture perspective of all the research I've done on COVID and what they've released in the biowork, and then you see it in the blood work. You see the clotting in the blood work. It's in everyone's blood work. But the capacity that water fasting has, extended water fasting has, to reverse all of the damage of any bioweapon that they ever throw at us. And to me, this is why I'm so passionate about it. People don't need to live in fear. We have the power within us to heal. No matter what they throw at us in the world, we're going to be okay. And that, of course, is also being attached to source and God, but it's all of it is in nature. It is in water fasting. It is in energetic healing. It's in truth and prayer. All of this is there for us. But the most powerful thing was the water fasting. Was not just like, I'm going to pray, but I'm going to pray and water fast and watch the transformation. It's not just a physical thing, but it extends to all your relationships. Now, if we think about how this can extend to everyone's relationships, what everyone's connected by 6 degrees of separation around the world, right? So just to start as a seed, right?
Yeah, the husbands and wives. Yeah, I know you. I told you about this story, but I noticed that when the husband was doing the fast, we're talking about families where the wife is actually willing to be submissive to the husband, and the wife follows, and then the kids follow. How do you say no to that? They're all doing better in every aspect, and in every material way. How can we possibly say it didn't work? It did, and it worked fantastically. Can you? That I believe is the way where you get almost anybody to join. Is when you show an entire family is fasting, and an entire family healed together, like that one podcast episode you have, the couple,
Mm.
the son with the bone the bone marrow,
Issue, yeah.
right? Not being able to produce red and white blood cells and platelets, and they fasted. It's like, well, what if that was your neighbor? How much longer are you going to ignore this extreme positivity and energy of this family sitting next to you until you go, damn it? Why do I not want this? What's wrong with me? I am
Exactly.
sick. I'm sick. I don't want this. Why don't I want it? How many more days do I need to see them doing better? How much better does their financial situation have to get? Because husband and wife love each other so much more and they understand and support one another so much more. How much more do I need to see that? Do I need to watch them move out of my zip code into a better place? What do I need to see? What evidence do I need to see so I can wake up?
Mm.
So yeah, I see it when it's going to be with families. And that's why I'm so excited about this whole platform thing that we're finally getting. What if I told you we don't need blood tests anymore? And all we do it is we get a photo of your face, and now we know what your state of health is. And each and every day, each and every hour, there's a photo of your face taken. Our smartphones are already doing it without our consent.
Oh, I believe that because when you do the 75 hard, one of the things is that you take a photo of yourself every day. It's a
Well,
challenge. So
well,
I was taking
that,
a photo of
that
myself too every day when I was doing a water fast. And you can actually see not just the changes in my body, but in my face.
well, what if I told you that in the age of AI, which by the way, AI has been around since 1980, NASA already had it back in 2007 when I was there. What if I told you AI can now read your face better than a blood test ever can?
Well, that's interesting.
Do you see how much easier we're making it? Do you see how lower the barrier of entry is? And
Mm.
not a little bit of this would have been possible if I did it my way. Not a single bit. And now look at what's happening. I'm not saying we are defying evil and looking it straight in the face and saying, come get some. We know what we know, and we're just going to keep moving forward.
Yes.
And
I
that's
mean,
it.
evil has a purpose if you think about it. Evil has the purpose of pushing us towards the light. Darkness has a purpose because the light becomes more self-evident and easier to see. If everything was just light, we wouldn't be able to distinguish between the two. So in
Right.
all through this whole process for the last few years, how dark it's got, we have certainly seen a divide happening. And I don't actually think myself personally it's even important to attack, well, not attack, but to be anti anything, because we are pro health, we are pro life, we are pro truth, we are we are
Absolutely.
pro God. We are energetic beings. We are elevating ourselves to a new way of being. And if we can use technology to do that, to help people on that journey, all power
Wait,
to us to do that. And that's what we're doing now with this podcast. We're using technology so that people are able to watch this later on and receive of this energy that we are sharing here together.
you know what? Let me cap that off with something very beautiful. One of my clients said, or alluded to this, and it just clicked. When God gave us modern medicine, he said, don't forget about me. But he also said, hey, modern medicine's a gift. Use this gift. But just don't forget about me too. I want you to use this gift. I do not hate modern medicine. It's a gift. But use it with God. Use it the way God wants you to. And God's not going to send you a message. He already gave you the ability to know what right and wrong is. So stay salty, and the discernment will stay there. Stay salty and fast, and the discernment becomes even clearer over what's right and wrong. Stay salty, intermittent fast to conserve the DNA unlocking from your long fasting. Right and wrong becomes every day. Guilt, shame, fear, uncertainty, they say in the past.
And can I just talk about tea? Like, I think you mentioned to me about tea and how you can incorporate that within a fast because it's a high in minerals.
And it's funny you say tea, because the tea that I recommend to my clients is literally called holy tea. The irony of the creator was a doctor. The irony of the creator calling it holy tea. There's a well-known quantum health clinic in Mexico, and there's another one, I forgot which country, but they charge an exorbitant fee for this tea. Yes, you're right. It's highly mineralized. You're absolutely right. And I just found it ironic that it was called holy tea. Makes you feel holy, makes you feel mineralized, because you are the salt of the earth, aka the mineral of the earth.
Yeah, which is why you're saying bone broth and juicing, all of this is concentrated minerals. They can, after someone's done a water fast, they're hyper absorbed into the body. and how they are, I guess, recreating their own physical, spiritual, energetic beings through these.
They do. They do. Jeannie, I actually have to get going soon.
Yeah, let's wind this up. But really, really good, I think, what we've discussed today. So nothing else you want to add? How can people reach you, Sero?
So they could find me on LinkedIn as long as I'm not yet. They could find me on there. I'm only shadow banned. I'm not fully banned yet. So that's the best way to find it. But really, the best way to find me, ask God. Not ask God to help you. But ask God why you're not fasting. Knowing what is right and wrong, knowing you are the salt of the earth, knowing you should be fasting, knowing we used to, and for centuries, every single culture on earth. Why am I not fasting? Not help me, God. You don't beg and plead. Why, God? Show me my pain in my life. Show it to me. Make me see it. Put it right in my face so I don't ignore it. And thank Him for the pain. And maybe then you'll find me. Or someone like me, because I'm not the first and I won't.
Thank you so much. I think it was an incredible interview. I'm so glad to have, I guess, as I said to you at the start of this, it's like coming full circle with everything we've done here at Health Alliance Australia. And you see you on the flip side of LinkedIn. So people can find me also on LinkedIn as well. So if worst case scenario, hopefully we both stay on there for a little bit longer.
Yeah, and I still can't believe you did 19 days straight out of the gate. That's nothing short of a miracle.
Well, unfortunately, Sero actually got a call and dropped out. But so we finished the interview in a very unconventional way, which kind of ties into how unconventional the whole recording was.